Good evening, my dear loved ones. I hope you are doing well. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. And let's tell our story. The person in the story says, "My name is Nada. I am 37 years old. You could say my share in life was small. I was very late to get married because I was the only one working among my sisters. I have two sisters, and I was the one who worked to provide for them and completely forgot about myself until I reached the age of 37. During that time, my marriage prospects dropped significantly, and no one was proposing to me anymore. I was emotionally exhausted. I used to lock myself in my room for hours and keep blaming myself and ask, why is my luck so bad? And why haven't I married until now? Even though I was very beautiful, and everyone used to testify to my beauty and charm. But it's destiny. I was also carrying the responsibility of my sisters until I got them married and felt reassured about them because my father had passed away. And my mother was the one living with us. I was working a good job, and I managed to provide for them, thank God. Of course, each one married in a different governorate. And I was the one who stayed living with Mom, and I was supporting her financially. You could say I was carrying the whole house on my shoulders. Until one day a man proposed to me. He was 13 years older than me. He was 51 years old. And he was very well off financially. And of course, as you know, a girl who reaches this age without getting married has very few marriage prospects. I didn't have the luxury of choosing to say yes or no to anyone. So I agreed to the marriage. He was 51 years old. And he was suffering from illnesses like diabetes. But honestly, I didn't care. I said a man's shadow is better than a wall's shadow. And the marriage actually took place. And my mother approved. She told me he was suitable for me in age, and not that old. Although I felt that 13 years was a big gap between us. And he also had health problems. But I said it's not a problem. And the marriage actually took place. He had one son who is 24 years old. He got married young. Because, as I told you, he is very wealthy. I lived with him for 2 years, and honestly, he was good to me. He gave me a good life, and didn't deny me anything. Of course, I didn't get pregnant, because I discovered after marriage that the problem was with me, due to age and issues preventing me from conceiving. Honestly, he didn't abandon me, and stayed with me. He told me he didn't want any more children anyway, and that he has a son from his first wife who passed away. He wanted someone to live with him, cherish him, and take care of him. So honestly, he was very good to me. And I lived with him for 2 years, which were among the best years of my life. Because all my life was just exhaustion and work to make them happy. But after I got married, my husband refused the idea of me working. And told me, you will stay at home. And everything you want, I will provide for you. He even signed the apartment we lived in over to my name. It was a very nice room apartment in a beautiful area, but I felt uncomfortable because of our age gap, and in our private life he wasn't up to much because of his health issues and issues. I would keep myself busy with anything else. I used to say, thank God I got married at all. I would have spent my whole life without marriage. And thankfully, he didn't even think of divorcing me when he found out I couldn't have children and had fertility problems. Honestly, whenever I asked him for something, he never hesitated to give it to me. He even put a large sum of money in a bank account in my name. He probably felt the age gap and that I wasn't happy. So he tried to compensate me financially because he couldn't satisfy me in our relationship. Unfortunately, good things don't last after 2 years. He got very sick. We took him to the hospital. He stayed in the hospital for about a week. The doctors said his condition wasn't good, and he might not live much longer because he had a very bad illness. That's what we found out when we took him to the hospital. While we were at the hospital, he kept entrusting his son to take care of me. He told him, never upset her at all, and everything she needs must be done. He actually stayed for a week in the hospital and passed away. May God have mercy on us. I was very heartbroken over him. My mental state was not good at all. I wouldn't even leave the house. But after a while, I started to pull myself together. I told myself I had to make up for everything I missed out on. and everything I was deprived of with the money my husband left me and the inheritance. And his son was truly very good to me. He gave me my fair share according to God's law, and he didn't take anything from me against my will. I had a good amount of money, so I decided to compensate myself for the bad days and the misery I lived through. And I had worked hard and suffered, so I decided to buy a car. But unfortunately, I didn't know how to drive, and there was no one I could rely on for driving, or even to help me buy the car, because I don't know anything about those things. I don't know how to go to a showroom to buy a car, or any of that. So I had to call my husband's son, whose name is Kareem, I told him I wanted to buy a car and wanted him to help me with it. He actually agreed. He told me, whatever you need, I will take care of it for you. It's my father's request, may he rest in peace, so don't worry about anything. He was busy, but he said, forgive me. I'll clear my schedule for you next week. I'll come over and we'll get the car you want. I told him I didn't know how to drive and asked if there was a school to teach me. He said, no, we won't need schools or anything like that. I'll be the one to teach you. Because he had known how to drive well for a long time. Since he was 19, he had a car and had been driving for years. He didn't want any stranger teaching me to drive and said he would teach me himself. And indeed, once he was free from work, he came to the house and said, let's go buy the car. We went to the showroom and I picked the car I wanted. Even though it was expensive, he didn't have a problem with it at all. Of course, he won't pay anything from his own money. This was his father's inheritance money. He was actually a very nice young man. And during that time, his wife was pregnant. Because, as I told you, he's been married for 2 years. Anyway, we got the car, and he rode with me and drove me home in it. He told me, tomorrow morning, I'll swing by and start teaching you how to drive. I said to him, okay, but sorry for putting you through this trouble. He said to me, it's no trouble at all. I stayed up a bit that night thinking about my husband and the days I struggled and suffered, and how God compensated me with a husband like him who left me this fortune. I was very happy, yet I felt a sense of lack and deprivation because I didn't live like all the girls my age. And even my husband wasn't very good with me regarding our intimacy. So I felt deprived and I wanted someone to hold me and comfort me. I used to fall asleep every day from thinking so much. And that day, Kareem, my husband's son, called me in the morning and said he was on his way so we could start driving. I naturally got ready and tidied up the apartment because it was his first time visiting since his father died. I heard him knocking on the door, so I went and opened it. I said to him, come have breakfast with me first or let me make you something before we head out. He said, no, let's finish the driving lesson first, and then we can sit down and relax. He really refused to come into my apartment and insisted we start driving right away. Honestly, I can't hide it from you. I was the type who doesn't learn quickly, but he was, truly, very patient with me. He knew that this was my first time driving a car. He was very kind to me and didn't get bored of me. So we started to get closer to each other since he was teaching me every day. The whole thing took about 11 days. He would come every morning to teach me. One day I saw him coming in the morning and he looked really off or like something was bothering him. While I was in the car with him as he was teaching me, I started talking to him and said, what's wrong? You don't look okay. Is something bothering you? Are you not going to tell me what's upsetting you? He said to me, honestly, that's not it at all, but I am bothered by something else. To be honest, I was curious and I was being a nuisance to him. I kept saying to him, no, you have to help me. Aren't we friends now? He said, no, I truly consider you a friend, but the things bothering me aren't things I can tell you. I said to him, why is that? He said, it's something you'd be embarrassed for me to tell you. I don't know, but I really wanted to know what was wrong with him. I found that from how much I kept pestering him, he started telling me that because his wife is pregnant, he hasn't been intimate with her yet. And that issue affected him a lot, and he really enjoyed that aspect. I was naturally shy while he was telling me this, but I felt happy hearing it while fearing it. And I kept saying to him, don't worry, this is just a phase that will pass and you'll be back to being fine and great. He told me he couldn't take it anymore. From there, we started talking, joking, and laughing together. I helped him open up, feel better, and improve his mood. After he taught me to drive, I asked him, want to have lunch together? I know your wife is sick and can't cook. He said, honestly, I'd love a home-cooked meal. I've been eating street food and delivery for so long, so I told him, all right, come over, I'll make you lunch. Or if you want to bring your wife, we can all eat together. He told me she's sick and can't go up or downstairs. Sure enough, that day, after he parked the car, we went into the house together. I prepared lunch, we ate together, and we kept talking, joking, and laughing. But that day I noticed him looking at me in a way I really liked. He said to me, I want tell you something, but don't get upset with me. I told him, no, I definitely won't be upset. He said, you know, when I found out my father wanted to marry you, I refused, and I was really upset. But honestly, once I got to know you, I fell for you, and I realized how much my father loved you, was attached to you, and couldn't say no to you. I said, what made you change so suddenly? He said, truthfully, I don't know, I just find you adorable. I laughed and said, God bless you, that's kind of you. He said, I'm serious, you're sweet as honey, and I'm happy that we've become close and friends. I told him I'm happy too. You filled my life after your father passed away. He told me, don't you ever think about getting married again. Honestly, I won't approve. I said, truthfully, I'm not thinking about marriage, but why you would or wouldn't approve is my business. He said, no, that won't happen, and that was it. I smiled, feeling that he liked me and didn't want anyone else to have me. We kept joking and laughing. Then he left. He told me we'd meet tomorrow to finish the last driving lesson. You've become quite good. Just 2 or 3 hours left, and you'll be able to drive the car alone and be perfectly fine. Sure enough, the next morning he came. But this time he said he was hungry and wanted breakfast. I prepared breakfast for him. It was the first time he'd had breakfast with me. We ate together. He said, let's go down and practice. I told him I feel lazy and can't go down. Let's just stay home if you don't have anything else to do. He said, honestly, I don't have anything to do. So we sat together and turned on the TV. I got up to make something for us to drink. I found him following me into the kitchen. He said he wanted to tell me something. I asked, is everything okay? He said, I have feelings for you. And honestly, every day I get more attached to you. I can't bear to leave you at all anymore. I told him, let's not talk like this so we don't later. He said, no, I'm serious, these aren't just words. He stepped closer to me. Things started getting intimate between us. I was happy, yet at the same time surprised and afraid. Because I had never done anything like this before. But honestly, I was weak. I let him do what he wanted. But it was just intimacy, and I stopped him at his limit on the first day. I tried to control myself. He left me and said, I'm sorry if I bothered you. I told him I'm not bothered at all, honestly, but I'm surprised and this is all new to me. He said, I'm really thinking about you, and I can't get you out of my mind. Besides, you know that my wife's pregnancy is affecting me and making me feel unwell. That day he left and went away. He told me he would come the next morning to start the final driving lesson. He came to me the next morning. I told him, please, come in. He said, honestly, I was afraid you wouldn't even open the door for me. I told him I couldn't do that, and he actually came in. But this time I wasn't feeling like myself. Honestly, all night long, I was sitting there thinking about what he did with me. I found that I couldn't control myself at all. So I let him come in that day, and more improper things happened between us. But this time, we went into the room, and he did everything with me. Honestly, he was very strange. He was like a lion with a piece of meat in front of him. He didn't want to let me go at all. He stayed with me for nearly 4 hours that day. And honestly, that day I learned what marriage really is. And I learned what a real man is. And I realized how much my husband was truly inadequate. And that matter was very limited with him. After these things happened between us, we just got used to it. Whenever he was free or had a day off work, he would come to me. And we would spend the most beautiful and enjoyable 2 or 3 hours together on the days he visited. And until now, we still do this. I became very attached to him. He even proposed marriage to me, but I refused and said, I don't want to get married. Let's stay like this. It's better for us to enjoy each other without problems and without any issues arising between us because of marriage. And honestly, until now, we still do that. And you guys, you wouldn't believe how every time he is more like a lion than the time before. I can't control him at all anymore. Even when I'm not in the mood and feeling unwell, he wouldn't leave me alone and would insist on continuing. And that was our story for today. Don't forget to like and leave a respectful comment. I leave you in safety